Hey guys, my name's James Mulvany. Welcome to my channel. I'm founder of podcast.co and host of the Create, Reach, Inspire podcast. I help people start podcasts each and every single day. We work with thousands of different podcasters. And today what I wanted to do is give you 4 things that can potentially destroy your podcast, especially if you're thinking of starting one. Maybe you're just about to get going or you're not sure where to start. This video is for you. All right, now the thing is, a lot of people come up to me and they say, James, I've had this fantastic idea for a podcast, and I'll see them a few months later and I'll say, how's the podcast going? Have you made a good start to it? Surely, you're a few episodes in now. And they'll just turn around to me and be like, do you know what, I never actually started, or it's still in the planning stages, or if and but. So what I want to do is kind of address the 4 biggest reasons that are stopping people from starting a podcast. And as I say, these things can destroy you. Number 1, the fear. So a lot of people are afraid of starting a podcast because number 1, they don't like how they sound. Number 2, they're not sure what people will think of them. Number 3, I don't know if I've got the right equipment, or I don't know how to, or I don't understand it fully enough. But a lot of people forget that without starting on something, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. So if you haven't started your podcast, there's nothing to lose. So just really what I'm trying to say is get going, start. It doesn't have to be perfect from the get-go, but you can build on it and you can make it better and you can reiterate as time progresses. Without starting, without actually just making that first step to record your first episode, upload it to podcast.co and publish it to iTunes, you're not going to be any further forward reaching your goal. So fear is the biggest thing that's going to be stopping people from starting a podcast. What I say to it, bollocks to fear, don't worry about it. You just need to crack on and get going. And who cares how you sound? People listen to you all day, every day anyway. All right, the second most common thing that can potentially destroy your podcast before you've even started is ego. Now, everyone wants to succeed and everyone wants lots of people to listen to them, and yes, by creating a successful podcast, you can even become a little bit famous. But ultimately, you've got to start somewhere. Unless you have a big pre-existing audience, perhaps you're a famous YouTuber or a celebrity, or if you've got a business that has a lot of traction in a certain industry, it's difficult to get huge amounts of listeners from day one. But you've got to think about this as a long-term game. You've got to make sure that you're starting from something that's reasonably humble. You're not going to get thousands of people listening to you, but you've got to grow your audience over time. You have to give it time to grow your audience. You can't just expect results from day one, because it doesn't always work like that, unless, as I say, you've got a big pre-existing audience or a substantial base to launch your podcast to. So kill your ego, because it is not going to serve you any good whatsoever when you get it started. Be realistic about your results, but actually make sure you're producing the best quality podcast that you can in order to grow to a decent audience level. So the 4th thing that can potentially destroy your podcast is bad audio. This really peeves me, especially in this day and age where never have we been in a time where you can go out and buy equipment of the quality that is available right now for the price that you can get it for right now. Even 10 years ago, if you wanted to record something kind of studio quality, you might need to spend a few $100s on equipment. Now you can go out, you can buy a good quality microphone, plug it in via USB. You don't even need to install any software. It will just work out of the box for around $50 to $100. Really cheap, really effective, but will give you a great sounding podcast. So it really pisses me off when I listen to podcasts that are recorded, and they're just using the built-in microphone on their laptop, or they're recording it through their iPhone mic or something like this. There's absolutely no excuses for bad quality. It will fatigue your listeners if you have a podcast that doesn't sound right. Make your podcast listenable by at least spending a little bit of money and investing in a decent quality microphone. That's the first thing you should be thinking about doing. You don't need to go out and invest in a big fancy studio. Just get a good mic and go from there. So number 4, how many podcasts do you see on iTunes where maybe there might be 1 episode, 2 episodes, thousands, tens of thousands? There are tons of podcasts out there where people have not stuck with it. So perseverance is absolutely key when it comes to podcasting. You can't just release 1 episode and hope for the best. You've got to have a strategy, and if you're like me and you've kind of got quite a lot on, then one of the best things you can do is just split it into seasons. Don't commit to just pushing out episodes all, 1 a week for the whole year, because chances are you'll get worn out or you just won't be able to manage it. So stick to seasons. So maybe commit to 6 or 8 episodes at a time. You can have a month or two's break, and actually you can record all this stuff in advance. But perseverance is very important when it comes to podcasting. If you don't persevere, you're going to set yourself up to fail from day one. So those are the 4 demons that may destroy your podcast. Let me know if you can think of any others. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm always reading your comments. I'd love to hear from you. I know a lot of people will especially just get stuck with that first point, fear. You know, when do I start? I've had this idea for ages, but not taking action on it is the most dangerous thing of all. So if you're thinking about starting a podcast, my best advice is to go out there and just get going. We've got tons of information available over on podcast.co if you want to check it out. That's a business that I run, and it also makes getting your podcast up and running really, really straightforward. You can actually get your first episode uploaded and distributed to iTunes and Spotify, etc. with a few clicks. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great day. I'll speak to you soon.